everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here today. Today's video is going to be a favorites video. I'm really excited to film this one. This one's been a long time coming for me. This is one of my favorite categories of makeup. These are my favorite single eyeshadows, cream eyeshadows, liquid eyeshadows. I'm gonna call them my favorite single eyeshadows, I think. But you know, there's a variety of textures, there's a variety of finishes here. They're all singles, none of these are in a palette. That's kind of the point, I guess. Before we get into it, be sure that you are subscribed to my channel if you haven't done that yet. That would be super awesome. I'd really appreciate it. Make sure that you also ring the bell before leaving today so that you can be notified when I upload on Fridays most of the time. Make sure that you're also following me on social media, or, you know, just if you feel you can. My hand will be popping up right here below me so you can check me out on the medias. And with all that said, let's go ahead and get into it. You guys will be seeing my tutorial of this summery look next week, so definitely stay tuned for that. We got a nice bold lip moment, very summery skin. I'm really proud of it, really into it. First, let's get started. Let's go in with my cream stick products. So I've got two varieties here. First up, I've got a classic here for me. These are the Nudestix Magnetic Matte Eye Colors. I have 3 shades here. I brought out my 3 favorite shades. They do have a metallic version of this formula. I just prefer the matte personally. I like it just fine. It's just not like a top favorite for me. But these are the mattes and I love them very much. And these are my favorite shades, so I thought I'd show you. And I also wanted to swatch these to compare to some other ones I have. So if you don't know about these are a sharpenable pencil. So they do come with sharpeners. And if you don't know a lot about these, then you can watch my full face of Nudestix video to find out more. But these are a sharpenable pencil. They're a cream formula. Here are my favorite shades. This is the shade Terra, all the way over here on this end. It's a nice warm brown. Here in the middle, we have the shade Fig, which is a really beautiful, almost like purpley, taupey brown mid-tone. Over here on the end, we have the shade Chocolate. Now, these are really beautiful. They're nice and blendable. I have drawn them on, so they have probably already almost set down, but they do blend very nicely and easily. They do set down and remain matte and wear really well. They have an okay amount of playing time, but I would recommend maybe doing one at a time so you don't run out of time and have one that's not as blended as the other. So that's these. They are really beautiful and creamy, but those are like a longtime favorite of mine. These are a little bit newer to me. These right here are the Vieve eye wands. Now, they have like 5 shades of these. The Nudestix one come in like a ton of shades. Like, I don't even know how many shades there are, but they're just like a lot. These only come in 5 shades. This is Jamie Genevieve's brand. These are newer, but from the moment that I tried them, I was obsessed with them immediately. So I'm gonna swatch them out for you here as well. And there are very noticeable differences between these two formulas. But I do love them both still. For me, these have a little bit more playtime. They don't dry down quite as quickly. These also are quite a bit more pigmented. Look at that. I have almost the same shades, but they're just a smidgen different. Look at how similar these are. Now, these are the Vieve eye wands on the bottom. So all the way over here, I have the shade Camel. In the middle, we have Hazelnut. And all the way over here on the end, we have Mahogany. Now, Mahogany and Chocolate are definitely different. Chocolate is definitely a true warm chocolate brown. Mahogany has a little bit more of a purple undertone to it. Fig and Hazelnut are quite similar. I'd say Fig is a little bit more purpley than Hazelnut is. And with Camel and Terra, Terra is a bit lighter and Camel's a bit deeper and warmer. Now, these have quite a nice amount of playtime that you can blend them, and they blend out really easily, and you can take them to a really sheer place. So even this deepest shade here, Mahogany, that I have, is very wearable, even by itself, because it blends out just that much. In my personal experience, the Vieve eye wands do wear a smidgen longer than the Nudestix. I just think that it's probably just because they're a newer formula. There are newer innovations than when Nudestix originally came out with their magnetic matte formula. So I think that if Nudestix were to come out with these now and reformulate, that they would be just as good. Now, it's not a big difference between wear time, but these are a smidgen, just a little bit longer wearing than the Nudestix, in my personal opinion. Alrighty, so those are the stick matte shadows right there. Moving on, I think we're gonna go, let's stay with the matte maybe and get glitterier as we go. I don't know, I'm just kind of guessing. But we'll go, we'll just go with this little section next. These are the tubies. So they all come in these little squeezy tubes. Starting out, we have the Smashbox Always On Cream Shadows. These are my two favorite shades. It's the shades Sepia and Greige. Now, these are really beautiful. Each of these formulas is pretty similar in texture. This is probably the thickest. This one is probably the thickest in texture. This is a pretty thick formula when you squeeze it out, but it blends out so seamlessly, just really, really easily. It almost has like a moussey consistency to it. But they are matte, and I don't believe that they don't have any shimmer shades in this line yet. But these came out last year. They are stunning. They're so beautiful. They have such a great wear time. They last all day. They have a really great amount of time to work with them when you put them on your lids. They blend just really easily with your fingers. That is so key for me with a cream shadow. These are just excellent one and done shadows. I can just do little dots on my lids, blend them out with my fingers, and be good to go. And they just last so well. The tones in this line are just so beautiful. They have neutrals, they have colors, they have something for everybody, and they're great bases for if you wanted to put more shadow on top of them. So if you wanted to put Greige down just to get your look started with a nice like cool tone smoky shadow and then build upon that, you absolutely can, and it will work great as a primer. So that's beautiful. Next up we have the Danessa Myricks color fixes. These are incredible. Danessa Myricks is really showing up right now. A lot of people are really recognizing how incredible her formulas are, and I'm so happy for that because I've just been loving everything I've been hearing about her, and all the products that she's been coming out with are just beautiful. And these are no exception. She has probably 1,000 colors in the Color Fix formula. But the difference is there are different finishes within that family. There are the neons, the nudes, the mattes, the creams, the metallics, the foils. There's so many options. But these are just two of my favorite shades that I have currently. I really want to try more shades of this just because I feel like the ones that I've been wanting have been sold out recently. Yeah, that's true. But these are just two of my favorites that I have. But honestly, I'd say any shade on our whole website of the color fixes are perfection, truly. This is a matte and a metallic, I think. These are the two ones I'm gonna be mentioning today. So over here, this is the shade Celebration. As you can see, it has a nice sheen to it. And this one's the matte over here in the shade Exposed, a really nice cool toned, neutrally taupe. Now these are so beautiful, so blendable. These have a lot of work time. And the biggest key with these is when you're working with them is to use the smallest amount possible. Obviously this is way too much. What I squirted out here was the smallest dot, and this is too much for both of my eyes for sure. Start out super small amount and blend it as far as you can get it, and then add another little layer if you need to, because these do layer up really nicely. But you just need to start with a really small amount because they will kind of build up and get gunky if you use too much. So you need to use these very sparingly and build up if you need to. But these are really great one and done eyeshadows. They last so well. These are like straight up, they'd probably be waterproof. I haven't tested that theory, but I would assume that they probably would be. So that's the Danessa Myricks color fixes. These I have not mentioned on my channel, and these have kind of been my little secret that I've been keeping from you guys, and I'm sorry. They're so good and nobody talks about them, and I haven't mentioned them yet, so I'm sorry. But these are from Covergirl. These are the Covergirl Exhibitionist Lid Paint. These are awesome. They have a bunch of shades in these. The weird thing is the shades are kind of strange, and they don't look like what you think they're gonna look like from the outside of the packaging, in my opinion. Like, I just don't think, anyway, they're just kind of strange in that way, but if you find a color that you like, they're incredible. Oh, they do have mattes and metallic shades. So this is my favorite matte. The other ones were kind of just as far as the shade. This is the shade 110 Cocoa Nuts. It's two separate words, cocoa and then nuts. So that's it right there. And this is kind of, now that I'm feeling it, it feels similar to the texture of the Smashbox Always On, because it's kind of that moussey texture blending out, but an incredible, anyway, they are an incredible formula, definitely on par with these, and with these, I think that they're just really great. So that's the shade Coconuts. I have two shimmer shades here as well. I love this one, the shade Amaretto. Now this is a really neutral, kind of metallic, kind of cool tone, but not super cool toned. It's so pretty. And then this one is the shade High Gorgeous, 140 High Gorgeous. And it is like a orangey, pinky. Now I will say, color to color, the formulas feel a bit different, but they all blend and last the same. So that's High Gorgeous over there, really nice, warm, orangey, kind of metallic, kind of rosy a little bit. Really pretty though. Something I really like doing is actually mixing these two metallic shades. So mixing High Gorgeous and Amaretto. So the two dots there. Oh my goodness. It just makes the prettiest color. What a pretty, like, I don't even know what to call this color. It's kind of warmer. It's really neutral. It's like a nude shimmer color, so it has silvery and goldy kind of glitters in it. And they're just beautiful. They're a really kind of subtle shimmer, as you can see. They're not like crazy like bam bam glitter, but they are really high shine and really beautiful. So that's been my secret one for a while. The Covergirl Exhibitionist lip paints are, they're an undercover hit. That's the tubey, the squeezy tubey variety. Now we're kind of getting into a little bit more of a glittery realm. Let's talk about these. These are one of my favorite cream eyeshadows of all time. These would be in my top 5 makeup products I had to repurchase immediately if my whole collection was gone. Like, these would be in that list of things I needed right away. These are the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize cream shadows. They are incredible. I have 4 shades, but I just brought my 3 favorites out here. Probably my favorite shade of all time. They changed the names of these, so I'm gonna have to look it up. It used to be called Betty, but I know it's called something different now. And I also love the shade that used to be called Jean, but now I know it's called something different. Let me look it up. Okay, so this one that is Betty is now called Amber Gold. So if you're looking to pick it up, it's called Amber Gold. It's this really nice mid-tone neutral bronze. Now what to me is special about these is they have this really lightweight cream formula, and they're not super shimmery, but they do have just this really special quality to them. This nice reflect that just makes your lids look like just so alive. They look great on mature skin because mature skin doesn't handle glitter super well because it really enhances texture, like wrinkles and things like that. But this will look stunning on mature skin. Another favorite of mine is the shade Star Gold, right there in the middle. Now it is a much warmer gold than Betty. As you can see, it has a little bit more orange to it. And then my other favorite shade used to be called Jean, but now I think it's called, is it just Champagne? Yeah, Champagne. There it is right there on the end. You can see it there. These I actually wore on my wedding day. I just love the texture that they give to your lid. You can wear these as a one and done eyeshadow since they're not crazy glittery. I do often just blend them out all over my lid as a one color, and they look stunning. They are just my favorite. There's something about them when I put them on my eyes that I just feel, they just like offset my eyes, but they don't add too much shimmer. They look really subtle. So if you want something that's gonna add some shimmer, but it's not gonna be like sparkly and too much, then these are for you, and they are stunning. I've had them for such a long time, and I'm not running out anytime soon. And if I do, I will be purchasing these like immediately. And if Charlotte Tilbury ever gets rid of these, I will be sending a strongly worded email. A strongly worded email to Charlotte, pleading with her not to do it, not to do this to me. So these are incredible. Would definitely recommend. They're just such a unique texture, I think, that you just don't find in like almost any other product. So I definitely would recommend checking those out. Next up, we have the Auric Smoke Reflex. Now I have all 3 shades of these, but I just brought one out here because I'm just showing you guys the formulas. And if you wanted to see all 3 shades swatched and my thoughts and feelings on them, I did do a review when Auric released, so I'll link that up here and you can go check that out and hear my full thoughts. But this is a really unique product. Now this has a cream in the bottom that's kind of similar to the Charlotte Tilbury. As far as the finish, it's definitely not similar in texture, but on the very top, you just open the little lid and it has a glitter topper over top. So these are really unique and special. These are such a beautiful cream shadow on the bottom that I like to use even just by itself. Now there it is. It's a little less reflected than the Charlotte Tilbury, a bit thicker in texture and a bit drier as well. The Charlotte Tilbury is kind of like a lighter, moussier texture, but this is the shade Defiance. So it has a really beautiful chocolate brown in the bottom, and then on the top, this gorgeous sparkly gold. And these have just really changed my makeup routine. So there's the glitter for the topper. And so when you just tap it over the top, it just creates this beautiful, beautiful effect. Now there are 3 shades of this, as I mentioned. This is part of Samantha Ravindal's brand Auric. This was their first release, the only release they've done so far, a part of that. This is just such a unique product. This has really like made its way into my everyday routine. This is what I will use if I want to have a really put together looking eye makeup look, but I don't have a lot of time. I can just throw this on my lid so quickly. I'm serious. I often, if I wake up late, this is what I go to. I go to one of these shades of the Smoke Reflect, Defiance, Temper, Ego. They just look incredible. They look so put together, so beautiful. You can just blend them out with your fingers. That's the way I prefer to apply the cream, is to go into the pot with my finger, tap it on my lid, and kind of start to blend it out. And if I want to blend it out further, if I've added too much product, I'll take a brush and blend my crease out. But they're really easy to work with, and then you just take your finger into the little glitter topper and tap it on the lid where you want it to be. It's just incredible, such an innovative, beautiful product. I think this is just something that is great for anybody who wants to just have a really quick makeup routine that still looks very put together, very like I really put effort into this, but really, if you use this, you did not put that much effort into it. The textures are just beautiful. It wears incredibly well. I can rely on this if I don't put primer underneath this at all. I just use it on its own, and it lasts really well. It doesn't crease on me or anything like that. So I love those. I think that Sam did such a great job formulating those. So that's Auric. Let's move into, I only have 2 formulas in this category, but the kind that come in a tube with a doe foot applicator. This first one, I'm shaking up because she is a true liquid. It's a true liquid. This is the Kosas 10-second eyeshadow in the shade Globe. Incredible. What an innovative formula this is. Now, do not leave your tube laying on the side on the table in front of you, because it will spill out. So you make sure you have the lid secure and then you can lay it down, but do not, when you're using it, just lay it down on the table after you've applied it. So it comes with a doe foot, as I mentioned, and it is a true liquid. So whatever liquid base it is in here, it has the pigment suspended in it. And it's just crazy how this works. So it is straight up like a water consistency. And then you can just blend it out with your finger or a brush on your lid, and it sets down and it does not move. Now, what's so cool for me and what I've really come to love about this product and why it's one of my favorites of all time is just the texture of this product, the way that it makes your lids look. I'm gonna get really close here so that you can see. This is something that what I consider to be like the Charlotte Tilbury, like the Auric base for me, an everyday kind of shimmer. It's not a crazy glitter. It's not just matte. It adds some texture and dimension to your eyelid without being crazy glittery. It just makes your eyelid look like it's come alive. And it really just creates some interest on your eyelid without being too distracting or too, wow, that's a lot of glitter on your eye there. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So that's the Kosas Tint Second Eyeshadow. They do have quite a few shades of these. I definitely would want to try some more. I just haven't. A lot of makeup, not a lot of time, you know what I mean? So that's the Kosas. Next up, these are the Ilia Liquid Powder Chromatic Eye Tints. So they came out with like, gosh, like 8 shades of this. I have 4, I think. These are my 2 favorites. The other 2 are kind of more unique shades, but these are definitely the more neutral ones that I wear on like an everyday basis. These are the shades Fresco and Sheen, so I'll swatch them here for you. So now this texture also comes in a doe foot, but it is not a liquid the way that the Kosas is. It's more of a moussey cream texture, but it's definitely too thin to have like put it in a pot because it is a little bit thinner, but it is just like that nice light moussey creamy texture. And these do truly turn into a powder on the lids once they dry down. Now these, I definitely would recommend doing one eye at a time because they do dry down decently quickly. And once they do, they are a powder and they'll start to ball up and flake off. So I definitely would recommend just putting them on one eye at a time, blending it out with your finger or a brush, and then letting it be. And they will last gorgeously. So this is the shade Sheen, and this is the shade Fresco. As you can see, we've got a cooler tone and a warmer toned, neutral brownish kind of shades, and they are not a flat matte. They are slightly shimmery. They're not crazy metallic, but they do have a glow to them, is what I would call it. That's what I kind of like to call these, is they're like a glow. They're not flat. They're not crazy glittery or shimmery. They're kind of glowy. It just has this slight shimmer to it that just brings that, again, that life, that a little bit of light to your eye look, to just give it a little bit more of a dimension and textured look, especially with a product like this where you're just using the one shade, the one product all over the eyes. It adds that extra dimension for you since you're just doing the one shade. That glow will give you more dimension to your look as if you had layered other shadows or if you had deeper shadows on the outer corners or whatever kind of thing. So that's those. Next up, we're getting glitterier as we go. Moving into a drugstore option. These are from Essence. These are the Melted Chrome eyeshadows from Essence. I have 3 shades here that I love so dearly. These are a hidden gem at the drugstore for sure. These are like maybe less than $1 even, if not right at $1. They're definitely not more than $1, I can tell you that for sure. But they are just incredible. These are just, as they said, the melted chrome finish, so they're really metallic and they're really, really soft. They do have some give in the pan, similar to like a Colourpop Supershock shadow would. It's a little bit creamier than like your average powder eyeshadow, but here they are right here. I mean, just look at that. It is like a chrome kind of finish. So I'll read off the shades that I have. So we have Golden Crown. The middle is Warm Bronze, and then all the way on the end is Iconic, that silvery shade. So there they are, the Reflect, and then, so you can actually see the colors But yes, they are really, really beautiful. They are, they definitely will not stay creamy. They will just kind of go to a powdery consistency as you wear them, and they wear so beautifully, and they're just a great topper if you're just looking for something that just will add a little bit of shimmer to your look, add a little bit of pizzazz to your eye, but you don't want to spend a ton of money on it. These you can just pick up at Ulta for like, I think less than $1 per eyeshadow, if not maybe just $1. It's insane how cheap they are. So that's the essence. I'm trying to keep this quick. Next up, on the opposite end of the price spectrum, we have the lid lustres from Victoria Beckham. Now, these are definitely a favorite of mine personally. These are something I go to for events, for just a special occasion kind of thing. I have two shades here in front of me. I have the shades Honey and Tea Rose. And to me, what makes these so special is the shades themselves. Now, this formula is absolutely beautiful. It's a pressed pigment in a pot. It's not creamy. Well, it is creamy in feel. It's not an actual cream or really a powder. It's just a pressed pigment. So here are the shades here. So obviously we have Honey and Tea Rose. Now these shades are just so, so unique to me. That Honey shade is like a different kind of golden bronze that has the actual like warmth and browniness of honey. It just gives such a cool look to the eyes. And the shade Tea Rose is just so beautiful. So it's like a purpley, rosy base, as you can see here, with some gold reflect to it. These shades are just so, so unique, so beautiful. They give such a gorgeous, gorgeous texture to the lids. We're getting into my favorite like glitter toppers here, and these are definitely some of my favorites of all time. Glittery topper type of products. These are on the more expensive side, but if you're looking to splurge, these are a really great splurge product that I don't think you'll be disappointed in. Next up, this is kind of a random and kind of cheating because it's kind of a palette. These are the Kaja Bento box, eyeshadow bento boxes. This is the Color Story in Toasted Caramel. But the thing is, all three of the shades in this little story are shimmer shades. They're all bronzy shimmers and a nice gold shimmer there at the top, goldy champagne. And I love the texture of these. Now they come out with a ton of color varieties in these, so they have, a lot of them have at least one or maybe even two mattes in them. But this one is just all shimmer, and it is such a beautiful color combination. And I love this, to have this for topper purposes. Now this is just a straight up powder metallic shadow. So there they are there, the deepest, middle, and lightest shades. And there's just something about the texture of these. They're so metallic, and these are ones that if you wet them with setting spray, they're gonna get really, really, really intense. I think it'll probably work if I just spray my hand here. Oh yeah. Well, my hand's wet now, but the liquid metal that these turn into, it is really something special on the lids. And I just love the bronzy colors of these. I just think they're pretty, pretty beautiful. And I find myself going for these pretty often if I just want something really bronzy, really bright, and if I just want that straight up just metallicness on the lids, that's what I will go for. Now if I want something with a bit more texture and dimension, and if I just have an eyeshadow look on that I love, I've built up mattes to the way I want them to be, but I don't want to change the color of my eyeshadow look. I just want to keep that same base color but just add some shimmer to it. I just want to add some pizzazz to it. I will go in with my Natasha Denona Chroma Crystal Top Coat in the shade Nude. What an incredible product. They have several shades of this, but this is definitely my favorite because, as I said, it will not change the base shade of your eye look. And the texture of this thing is pretty insane. There's so much dimension within this product, and you can wear it really sheerly or you can build it up. Again, this is like a pressed pigment type of formula. It's a little bit creamier, it has a little bit more oil to it. than the others, but here it is. I mean, so as you can see, it added a little bit of a warm nude base, but it's mainly just that shimmer with not a lot of base color. And look how crazy that looks. So this looks wet on the lids. This looks like you have put eye gloss on your eyes, but it's actually not. It's actually dry. It is actually a dry eyeshadow, but it looks wet. I mean, does it not look insane? I think this one really just speaks for itself. This is just one of my all-time favorites. I've had it for such a long time, and it's something that is just a staple in my collection that I cannot live without. Now I will say, I have found kind of dupes for it. Kind of. They're not exactly the same, but this one I'd say is the closest I've found. And it's from the drugstore, but it was limited edition. I don't know if you can find it anymore, but if you do, if you ever see this in stores, you better run. You better run and get it. This is from L'Oreal. This is from the Gold Mirage collection. This is the Shine Miracle eyeshadow in the shade 03 Sandstone, right there. Now the difference is this is not a pressed pigment. This is just in a pan, but here it is. So there's the Natasha and Denona, and there is the L'Oreal. So it's pretty similar, not quite as wet looking, and all the glitter particles are like the same size, so it doesn't have that extra amount of dimension, but it even has even less of a base color than the Natasha and Denona. If you can see that from like kind of far away, if I twist my hand, has even less of a base color, so it's not gonna change the color of your eye look. It's just gonna add that gorgeous wet-like sheen to it. It's gonna look incredible. And truly, since it is a powder eyeshadow, even if you spray it a little bit, it'll add that wetness to it. It'll add that wetness factor to get it to be as reflective as the Natasha Denona. Yeah, so I don't know if this is available anymore, but I will be holding on to it for as long as I possibly can. And if you ever see it in store, you better snag it because it's truly something really special, and I've never found anything quite as close to the Natasha Denona as this. So just wanted to mention those. Next up, we have a classic, the Colourpop Supershock eyeshadows. I mentioned these in a pretty recent video where I did a full phase of Colourpop. I'll link that up here so you can check that out and see all of the shades I have, the full breakdown on the thing. But I've talked about these recently, so I'm not gonna spend too much time here. I brought out two of my favorite shades here, the shade Cosmic Charge and Ritz. So Ritz is also kind of similar to the Natasha Denona in the fact that it is more of a topper. It doesn't have a ton of base pigment to it. It's just that glittery shine. Now the Super Shocks, as I mentioned in my Colourpop video, they have matte shades and things like that. They're not just shimmer shades. So real quick, I did a little swatch comparison with, so we have the Natasha Denona Chroma Crystal Top Coat in the middle. Over on this side is where I did that swatch of the L'Oreal single shadow. And then over on this side, I put Colourpop Ritz. So you can see there's quite a difference. Ritz is a little bit more of a silver reflect, even more of a white silver reflect than the others. And it's not quite as warm in the base, but still a little bit similar. So if you're looking for dupes for that, I'd say it's a little bit similar, more similar maybe a little bit than the L'Oreal because of the kind of scattered effect of the glitter. I mean, the L'Oreal is more similar in ways that the Colourpop is not. It's just kind of what you're looking for kind of a thing, but I hope that this helps, but because this is one of my favorite products of all time, and I'm kind of always looking for something that would be a more affordable option. But the Colourpop Super Shock shadows are incredible. I also love this shade Cosmic Charge. It's one of the ones that's like a drier formula, and it is an incredibly beautiful, little bit cooler of a bronzy kind of shade. It's just really nice, and they look incredible on the lids. Such high quality for such a low price. They definitely look like really luxury type topper products, and I believe they're like $5. So that's a great option as well that I love. Last product, the most sparkly. I fell in love with the Hourglass Scattered Light Shadows when they released several years ago, a few years ago, whenever that was. It feels like it's been forever, but I've not been supporting Hourglass just because of their choices they've been making as far as their shade ranges and just their choice to not change in any way. I've not been supporting them, but I did find this incredible option instead of the Hourglass Scattered Lights, but I wouldn't call this a dupe. It's actually just the exact same product. It's the exact same component and everything. These are the Bodyography glitter pigments. So they are a pressed glitter. It literally comes with the exact same stopper that the Hourglass ones do. The packaging is the same size, just a different color. I mean, it's the same component, just different colors. That's all there is to it. I love these products. I brought out 3 of the shades here to show you. They actually have a ton of shades of this. So any shade that you're thinking of for a nice shimmery topper, they definitely have a shade for you. They have neutrals and brighter tones and deeper tones and colors and really interesting duochromes and all that kind of stuff. They have it. So I think these are just an excellent option, and the effect they give is really special. So here they are. Wow. So starting from over here, this is the shade Sparkler. And in the middle, we have the shade Off the Hook. And over here on the end, I have the shade Celestial. Now I have a couple other shades of this as well, but these are just some of my favorites. They just have so much dimension to them. And these under just like soft lighting or dim lighting at night or something, just give the most beautiful effect on the lids. They really make your lids sparkle in so many beautiful ways and just give you, just really offset your eyes and just make it look really special. These are pressed pigment. I think I already said that, but they just come in a pot, and you know, I just dip my finger in and swipe it on my lid. You can absolutely also dip a brush in. Not a problem either way. They work really well dry or wet. I would recommend probably applying them with your finger if you're gonna go dry, so they have something to adhere to. And if you're gonna go with a brush, I would wet the brush just a little bit. Just a little bit. They don't need a lot because these are already really high impact on their own. I just think that these are like the special occasion, the really like the date night kind of vibe. If you're really wanting to amp up your look, make it a really special eye look, these are the ones to go for. They're really high quality products. I love those so much. Definitely when I reach for on my special occasions. So that is the last product. I know that was a lot, and I'm sorry that you know, have been here with me for quite some time, but thanks for sitting through it. Thanks for sticking with it, because this has been a really fun video to film. I love single eyeshadow topper creamy eye products. They are just my favorite. I often will just reach for a matte base with one of these toppers for my eye look rather than go for like an eyeshadow palette. It's just smaller and it's easier to travel with, that kind of thing. So if you are someone who, maybe you're traveling soon, because we can now, and you're like, I don't want to bring like a whole eyeshadow palette because it's like big and bulky, you know, that kind of thing. These would be a great option. You know, here's a whole video of options for you, truly. And whatever you need, one of these would definitely be, I'm sure, something for you, because we've been all over the spectrum here today. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know if you have tried any of these before, or if there's one that really piqued your interest that you're thinking of picking up. Let me know how you enjoyed this video. And with all that said, I just want to thank you guys so much for being here for this video again today and just sitting with me through it. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate your support for this channel. So I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. Ow, I hit my hand on my table, my fingers. Bye.